Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scumdog's Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I have very bizarre stories today, folks. One, a hopping cryptid in Illinois, and Mothman has been seen in Canada. Let's get into the first story. Hopping hooded humanoid encountered near Mattoon in Charleston, Illinois. What crossed the road by airtight bridge. Let's get into this article now and read exactly what was seen, folks. In rural Corliss County, Illinois, two separate witnesses, decades apart, described what may be one of the strangest humanoid reports ever tied to the Mattoon and Charleston area. The figure was said to be extremely tall, impossibly thin, cloaked in black, and moving not by walking but by rapid, powerful hops that seemed to defy normal body mechanics. The location adds another layer of unease because the airtight bridge area already carries a long reputation for unnatural stillness, local folklore, and grim homicide history that never fully left the public memory. Anyway, let's get into the full account now. I was told about a very strange sighting that took place in Corliss County, Illinois, near Mattoon and Charleston. The description stuck with me immediately because it did not sound like any ordinary person, animal, or even the usual kind of humanoid report. One woman told me that in 2012 she saw something cross the road on North County Road 1200 East, about a mile south of Illinois Route 16. She described it as a towering figure around 8 to 9 feet tall, extremely skinny, and dressed in what looked like a black hooded cloak. What unsettled her most was the way it moved. It did not walk, it crossed the road by hopping, leaping, high and fast in a way that seemed completely unnatural. Then I heard from another witness who said she and her husband had seen what appeared to be the same kind of being back in 1989, roughly 8 to 10 miles from the airtight bridge area. She said it was early in the morning, around 5 a.m., and still fairly dark. As she drove to work, her headlights lit up the figure as it crossed the road. And I can imagine, folks, that, well, this kind of thing would be very terrifying for anyone. Now, it sounds like this could possibly be just a man hopping around, maybe in a costume, but I'm not quite sure, folks. As we get further into the article, the description varies from basically being an ordinary person, I would say. But let's read on. She said the thing was upright and appeared to jump about 3 feet into the air. With each motion, it did this over and over in such rapid succession that it was almost a blur, yet it still progressed forward slowly because it had to make so many jumps to get across the road. She estimated that it leaped hundreds of times. What shook her most was that she never saw its knees bend. The movement looked mechanically wrong, almost impossible. It was as if the body was lifting and dropping without the normal structure of muscles and joint movement. She also noticed that its shoulders were unusually high, so high that she wondered if something like folded wings might have been hidden beneath the cloak. It never turned toward her, so she never saw a face. In any case, the hood covered the head. Once it reached the far side of the road, it vanished into the trees. The witness remained terrified by the experience. Even years later, the sight of that black hopping figure stayed with her. Now, could it be that this is yet another Mothman encounter, folks, this time from 1989, sort of early installment weirdness that wouldn't start fully until basically the late aughts and throughout now, folks? Could this basically be an early account of the Chicago Mothman, or should I say in Illinois, because it wasn't exactly in Chicago, was it, folks? But the hopping does remind me of various other cryptids who are said to basically be able to fly, but not in the normal way we know as aerodynamically possible. It was hopping, but it wasn't using its knees, folks. Could it be that it was basically hopping by levitating itself over and over again? Like basically how they say Mothman can basically fly by just literally gliding without flapping its wings. Could that be what we read about, folks? Maybe. But either way, folks, we have yet another Mothman encounter. This time from Canada. So let's read on and read the title of this article. Large bat-winged humanoid reported along Highway 1 between Kanawha and Winnipeg, and get into yet another Mothman encounter, this time beyond the border, folks, and hear exactly what was witnessed. Let's get into this story now and read exactly what took place. In the late summer of 2009, a couple driving east from Kanawha, Ontario, toward Winnipeg, Manitoba, encountered something neither has been able to dismiss or rationalize. The sighting lasted only seconds, yet it altered their sense of reality and lingered in silence for years. What crossed Highway 1 that evening was not a deer, not a trick of light, and not something either witness believes could be easily explained. Indeed, folks, they encountered the same kind of phenomena others have been unable to put into, well, more rational words, the Mothman. So let's read on. Kari, who was 41 when she chose to come forward, stated that she and her partner of 11 years were traveling from Kinnawa to Winnipeg at the end of July or the beginning of August 2009. Both were professional artists who routinely made the trip to visit family. They closed their shop at approximately 6:30 p.m. and left for Winnipeg. Shortly afterward, sunset was approaching, placing the encountered time between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock p.m. They were driving along Highway 1, a divided stretch of road well known for deer activity. As a passenger, Kari was scanning the roadside, as she often did. What first caught their attention was a strange black void interrupting the headlights of oncoming traffic on the opposite side of the highway. Initially, they assumed it was a deer. Moments later, their own headlights illuminated the figure. According to Kari, what appeared before them was a bald, black-skinned, unclothed humanoid form, flying low approximately at the height of their vehicle's headlights. She described it as human-shaped, but equipped with large bat-like wings. As the light struck it, the being raised one wing in front of its face, as if shielding itself from the glare. She noted that the wing membrane appeared thin and veined, similar to bat anatomy she had tattooed in her professional work. The skin looked textured rather than furred. The entire event lasted seconds, but her estimate, when the creature crossed into their lane, it was within roughly 6 feet of the vehicle. She believed its body length was over 6 feet tall, with wings proportionate to its size. Both she and her partner braked abruptly. She emphasized that they both saw the same thing. The encounter left a profound emotional impact. Upon arriving in Winnipeg, they told their parents, expecting disbelief. Instead, both sets of parents accepted their accounts. The family priest provided holy water and reminded them of the phrase, "We walk in the valley of death," which took on new meaning for her after the sighting. For months afterward, the couple avoided being alone, even inside their own cabin. Kari described the experience as the most frightening event of her life, causing her to question her faith, her understanding of reality, and her place in the world. It took at least a year before she felt comfortable being alone outdoors again in the evening. Over time, the intensity of the fear diminished, though the memory never faded. Years later, she sought similar reports and found drawings that resembled what she had seen, which provided some comfort. She later chose to be baptized. To this day, she remains certain of what she witnessed and maintains that no one could convince her otherwise. Source: Singular Fortune Society. Thank you for providing this story, folks. We should thank them as well. It's a very interesting account, folks. And remember, both accounts take place up north, but along the Canadian border, I would say, folks, because remember, most of Canada and their population is along the border, but the distance between basically Winnipeg and Ontario is a long way, folks, and they're, well, hundreds of miles away from Chicago and Illinois. At least that's what I saw, folks. Either way, they're still in the same general area up north, I would say, folks. So seeing Mothman in between basically Ontario and, well, Winnipeg, I'm not surprised. I was going to wonder about our first Canadian Mothman encounter, folks, if I covered anything similar before. Forgive me for that. It just slips in my mind. Either way, I'm not surprised, because if indeed these entities are seen in the states around Illinois, then basically stopping at the Canadian border just does not make sense. So this actually happening like this, and maybe it's been happening for decades, would basically be the case, wouldn't it, folks? So, do you think there are multiple people in Canada witnessing a similar phenomena of the Mothman or these flying cryptids, folks? Are they also seeing these giant bats and giant owls that have also been witnessed in Chicago, Illinois, folks? I would not be surprised by this, well, evidence. And what about basically this first story with this hopping entity that I think might be a Mothman as well, folks? Could its odd behavior because it had trouble flying? Or was it just maybe having fun with the witnesses who were observing it? I don't know, folks, but I would not be surprised with that fact either. Either way, truly phenomenal learning about it. But we're at the end, folks, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.